All right. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. It's Firearms Friday. And we're not going to beat around the bush. We're just going to go ahead and do us some DGUs. Let's pull up this first one. Doop doop doo. Convenience store worker uses gun to disarm man threatening to kill someone, deputies say. You know, it right off the rip, it says uses gun to disarm man threatening to kill someone. Oh, there's an interesting thing that happens with the statistics around defensive gun use. The We've talked about the CDC numbers. Um, some estimates upward of 4 million defensive gun uses on average annually. Some as low as 250,000. The fact is there are even at the if you take the most conservative, the lowest estimates of defensive gun use and compare them against the highest estimates of violence, the fact is guns save more lives than not. And the reason, there's actually a very good reason, and we've talked about this before, that defensive gun use is so hard to nail down a hard number, a good statistic on it, is because, quite frankly, people don't report. And can you blame them? Right? If you are a lawfully armed citizen who was the potential victim of a crime and you use your firearm to defend yourself, whether or not it comes to lethal force, it may simply be brandishing the firearm, which, by the way, you can be charged for as a crime for merely brandishing. Now, there are arguments for that are, I won't say particularly reasonable, but there are arguments for laws against brandishing. But let's look at that for a second. If I know that, okay, say I'm downtown somewhere, somebody tries to rob me, somebody tries to mug me with they draw a gun, hey, give me your wallet, and I'm like, oh, hey, oh, sorry, man, here, let me get my wallet out. Wow, got you, bitch, right? Okay, I'm not a threats guy. I'm just gonna draw and shoot if I've got the window to do it. But let's just say hypothetically, I draw my weapon and I say, no, you drop your gun, and he does. He drops his gun and runs away. What do I tell the police if I call them? If I call the police to report that crime, what do I tell them? I mean, at best, what I get to say is there was a guy with a gun. I drew my weapon. He dropped his gun and ran away. The police will take his gun into evidence. Oh, and by the way, also mine. So I'll be disarmed by force by the police. And there's a high degree of likelihood that I'll be arrested, even if I'm not charged with anything. The old saw, you can beat the charge, but you can't beat the ride. The process is the punishment. Right? There's no upside. There is no benefit to you to call the police after a crime has been stopped. Right? So you were just almost the victim of a crime, but for your vigilance and preparation and the free exercise of your God-given right to keep and bear arms, you managed to avoid becoming a victim of a violent crime. And if you do anything other than keep your mouth shut and walk away, you will be punished for that. Now, let's pretend for a moment that I'm being hyperbolic in what I've just described, and that the police are totally reasonable, and they're going to come and say, oh, well then, congratulations on not getting robbed today. You have a nice day, sir. And you walk away with your rights and your property intact. Let's pretend for a moment like that's the case. That's how it's going to go. The fact is that the average citizen doesn't believe that. Now, in reality, the average citizen doesn't believe that because it happens to not be true, right? It is not the case that calling the police when you've been almost the victim of a crime is likely to net anything but you being harassed and aggravated, right? So, personally, I would never call the police unless the crime had actually occurred and I needed to take advantage of the resources. Right. So, for example, several years ago, we had an incident where somebody just came into my garage in the middle of the night, started stealing stuff. And when I say started stealing stuff, I mean homeboy made trips. He came in, he picked up a box with stuff in it, left, came back, picked up another box with stuff in it, took that to the next location. He was taking it to another garage at the home of a nearby friend. Um, he grabbed a couple of rifle cases that had they had airsoft guns in them. Obviously, I'm not keeping real firearms just in the garage unsecured. That's no. that's not how that's going to work. But he grabbed, I think, four rifle cases with airsoft guns in them. In fact, some of the guns that you see on the wall behind me, the airsoft guns behind me. All right, we've talked about that before. I've got a bunch of those. We use them for film props and stuff. And so yeah, in that case, I called the police, right? And of course, when they came, they started interrogating me. Well, did you do this thing? Did you have security cameras? Did you have security lights? Did you have this? Did you have what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? I mean, okay, the cameras, obviously, if there were cameras, it'd be nice to have the image of the guy. Now, that night, the way it went down, Cameron actually happened to be at the house that night. It was Cameron that noticed somebody was coming in the garage, and I went outside with my gun and called the police. And so when the police arrived, they found me outside in a pair of Crocs and a bathrobe with a 357 Magnum in one hand and a flashlight in the other. As the cops pulled up, and I was looking for any sign that the guy was there, and I started giving them orders, and we fanned out, and we found the guy. We recovered some of my property. Now they took all my property in as evidence, and I didn't get it back for several months. But the point to the story is that in that case, the crime had actually occurred, right? So in that case, there was actually an upside. In that case, there was actually an upside from calling the cops, just because it meant that I could put more guns on the scene to do the work, to hunt and apprehend the criminal. So there you go. There is a use case, right? But notice part of my story there was I was out there with a gun and a flashlight looking. I was already doing the police's job for them when they arrived. Now, don't take that, guys, by the way, as a recommendation that any of you necessarily start going into manhunt mode if the situation arises. I have experience with hunting armed men. I have a lot of experience with hunting armed men, and I rather enjoy it. That's a little bit of a difference there that's worth considering. But when the police arrived, we did search and find the guy. But then I got the third degree. What did you do to secure your property? What they wanted my ID, and all I could think was, I'm the victim here. Right? Now, I'm not a victimhood mentality guy, but you're here because there was a crime, and I am the victim of that crime. Pitt Danny says, yes, it was in fact, yes, Pitt Danny, this was in fact a repeat offender. Aaron Olson, it was not, which is especially surprising for the location. And yeah, so we caught the guy, but again, that's a case where there's an actual upside. Defensive gun use statistics are very hard to nail down because there's no upside to reporting. Right? If you stopped a mugger with your firearm, congratulations. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to just be happy that I didn't get robbed. And if he drops his gun and runs away, I might just have to pick that up for the children to make sure that it doesn't end up in the hands of a child. Yeah, for no other reason at all. So, I mean, it's not like I have a Gorilla Tough box in the backyard full of dropped muggers' guns that I'm just hiding in case. No. All right. Which reminds me, you should all go watch the public service announcement about calling 811 before you dig. So, convenience store worker uses gun to disarm man threatening to kill someone, deputies say. A convenience store employee took matters into her own hands, that's entertaining, when an armed man entered the store and ordered people out at gunpoint. If you are not pro 2A, you are not a feminist. That's not to say I'm a feminist, but ladies, if you pretend to be a feminist, the gun is in fact the great equalizer. This happened in Indian River County. Video shows the woman push the suspect out of the store after reaching into her purse and pulling out her gun. That armed suspect is identified as Calvert Allen. The employee pointed a gun right at Allen's face, and deputies say she began wrestling him for his gun in the parking lot. This is a bad bitch, baby. Investigators say the woman fired 2 warning shots at him, then hit Allen with her gun until she finally was able to get control of his handgun. Okay. In a story like this, I have to wonder if the term warning shots is not like a face-saving code for she missed. God, there's no such thing as a warning shot, okay? You shoot the big one first and let everybody else get the message, right? So, but that's awesome. Investigators say the woman fired 2 warning shots at him. Never fire a warning shot. You can't miss. It's going to hit something. You might not hit what you intended to hit, but you're going to hit something. But then she hit him with her gun until she was finally able to get control of his handgun. So she couldn't shoot him. So she just pistol whipped him in the parking lot. You know what? Kudos, baby. Good job. He's going through a mental health crisis. He just got out of the behavioral health center, the employee said. Okay, put him back. You know what? Make asylums great again. She told deputies in an interview that he contemplated shooting her in what he believed would have been self-defense, but she says he decided against it due to liking her. She did not want to go on camera, saying she wants to put the incident behind her, but told said she, what? Okay, that syntax just fell apart. Okay, so Chicky D carries a firearm at all times, she said. So so solid DGU No DRT, but Patrick asks, "What? It wasn't a DGU, but did you see the story from Atlanta where the woman pulled a gun on a guy and his kids?" I did see it. You know what? It's a month. It's the one you sent me, right, Patrick? It's a month old, but since you sent it in, we'll go ahead and cover it. Bond set at $40,000 for woman accused of pulling gun on family after hit and run. The bond for a woman accused of pulling a gun on a family after hit and run incident has been set at $40,000. Crystalline Momon allegedly hit an Alabama man and his sons in their car while they were on a day trip to Atlanta. Video shows the man, Brandon Parker, and Momon get into an altercation. Momon allegedly pulled out a gun as Parker wrestled. Okay, it says video shows. So, allegedly? Do we not have her on video? Like, I get it. You're trying to cover your own ass, journalist. But, you know, if you see the video, unless you're gonna start arguing it's a deep fake, then maybe that's enough to stop saying allegedly. So you really don't have time to think. It's really just a respond type situation, said Parker. Everything I did was to keep my kids from getting shot. So I'm watching the gun the entire time. I'm able to kind of hip toss her and slam her head into the concrete. When I do that, it knocks her unconscious and I'm able to get the gun. Okay, there we go. Oh. I see Megan and Cade are having a nice little chat over there. Cade, brother, I'm glad to see you watching the show in the mornings. I miss you, baby. I hope I'll see you on the 1st, by the way. It's just over a week out, baby. So, Parker said the woman regained consciousness but escaped before police arrived. So I let her go, you know. I stopped because self-defense only goes so far. It's not self-defense if I'm trying to chase her and grab her and pin her down, said Parker. But thinking back, you know, I should have made some different decisions because it could have cost my child. Momon has been charged with 2 counts of assault, cruelty to children, and possession of a firearm. And possession of a firearm? That's not a crime, but okay. So yeah, so there's that one. And like I said, that one's about a month old, but I mean, a road rage incident. That's a good way to just ruin your life right there. I don't do road rage. And when I say I don't do road rage, I am I won't turn left across 4 lanes of traffic unless I absolutely have to. I will go back through the parking lot and find an intersection with a traffic light. Right? I don't play stupid games in traffic. There's too many idiots out there who are armed and inebriated. I mean, that shit happens. So, vape shop employee shoots man during attempted robbery on Northwest Side, police say. Man was taken to a hospital with life-threatening injuries. A vape shop employee allegedly shot a man multiple times during an attempted robbery on the Northwest Side, according to San Antonio police. Officers were dispatched to the shop just after 11 p.m. Saturday in the 1400 block of Bandera Road. Joe Buddy asks, how do you feel about the now declassified Obama coup? We will be talking about that soon. I'm not going to get into that on Firearms Friday. Uncle Steve points out it is. If you're already a felon, that's fair. We don't know if she was already a felon, but I would not discount the possibility. Police said the man who was wearing a mask entered the location and approached the employee of the shop with a handgun while demanding property. The employee then pulled out a firearm and shot the man several times. Excuse me. Oh. What? Yo, I apologize. That story was not worth reading. Okay, so somebody tried to rob a vape shop in San Antonio. Pro tip, Texas is one of those places like kind of like Georgia. Maybe not the place you want to fuck around, because you will find out. I'm happy to report that I have not seen a great number of pawn shops or gun stores being robbed in the news of late. Although those particular Darwin Award type stories do hold a special place in my heart for the show. A woman shopping at LA store fatally shoots violent man, officials say. This is in Los Angeles. A woman shot. Wow. That's you. You can get arrested for knowing the word gun in Los Angeles. A woman shot and killed a man who groped and attacked customers inside a Compton store, according to the LA County Sheriff's Department, and officials are asking witnesses to come forward. On Sunday, deputies from the Compton Sheriff's Station responded to an emergency call of a disturbance, which was later updated to include a gunshot victim at a shopping center in the 1300 block of East Alondra Boulevard, according to a news release. The Sheriff's Department did not name the store where the incident took place. A preliminary investigation found that an unidentified man entered a store following a female customer whose identity has not been disclosed. Excuse me. A preliminary investigation found that an unidentified man entered a store following a female customer whose identity has not been disclosed. Investigators say the man groped the female customer, prompting the store's employees to ask the man to leave. According to the news release, the man responded by becoming verbally aggressive, throwing and damaging merchandise in the store. That should be enough for one of the employees to put a round in him, in my humble opinion. According to the news release, the man responded by becoming verbally aggressive. Oh. Excuse me, guys. Officials say the employees and customers then noticed the man had an object in his hand that they believed was a knife. They said he threatened to kill and harm everyone in the store, according to authorities. A second customer in the store, fearing for the store employees, herself, and other customers, retrieved a personal firearm and fired a warning shot at the male, the news release stated. There's another one. There's another one. She fired a warning shot at the male. No warning shots. Warning shots are dangerous. Warning shots can hit anything. If you shoot the bad guy, I promise he will get the message. Now, of course, that statement presupposes that you are in a situation where the use of force is justified. Okay? And in all fairness, I'm sure many of you who watch this show regularly can imagine, in my personal opinion, the use of force should be justified far more often than the law seems to allow. Like the Sergeant Major says, don't say FAFO, instead say apply your hypothesis at your own risk. Yes, FAFO is in fact the scientific method. And frankly, our education system has deteriorated the minds of our populace generally. And so perhaps a little hypothetical application is what they require. Just saying. So when the man turned toward the armed customer, officials said, she feared being attacked and fired a second shot, which struck the man. That's better. Responding officers found the man suffering from a gunshot wound. He was pronounced DRT, dead at the scene. We got one. Investigators said based on video evidence, there were additional customers in the store who might have witnessed the incident unfold. They're seeking anyone who was in the store or in the parking lot and saw the man to call the Sheriff's Homicide Bureau. Excuse me. Okay. So, wow, that's only 3. But I'm running out of coffee, so I guess I'm going to do you one more, And then it's time to wrap this one up with a safety brief and go get some more coffee. Patrick says you need the DRT button back. Yeah, I'm working on that. There are some factors. Largely, it has to do with how Rumble Studio works, and I have to completely rebuild the old open broadcast system, which is time-consuming and complex. So, homeowner kills intruder in apparent self-defense in Pierce County. Ooh, we got pictures. Okay, you got a little blonde chick cop here. Deputies arrived at the scene to find a 36-year-old man with a single gunshot wound on the back porch. Homeowner kills intruder in apparent self-defense in Pierce County. Pierce County, Washington. A homeowner shot and killed an intruder early Sunday morning in what appears to be a case of self-defense. According, Jesus, just say that. Okay, there we go. You know what, guys? Screw this article. Let's do a different one. That article was like 3 sentences just repeated over and over again, and that's unacceptable. Phoenix homeowner kills alleged burglary suspect. Okay, we're in Phoenix. Police are investigating a burglary call that ended with a homeowner shooting and killing an intruder near 7th and North Avenues. Hey, that's another one. DRT, baby. Aaron Olson points out, yeah, that probably is the couple of articles that were just short articles. Yes, almost certainly those were AI. So, while on the phone with the 911 operator, the homeowner shot the man while he was in the backyard. Police said officers arrived at the scene and had the homeowner and his family, including small children, exit the house. The suspect, 25-year-old Kwame Hightower, was pronounced dead at the scene. The homeowner is cooperating with investigators who believe the suspect was attempting to steal from the residence. What they're saying, one neighbor, Gary Alpert, described hearing unusual noises that morning. All I heard was a kind of a rattle, kind of like a washing machine shaking. That was the sound that I thought it was. That kind of a sound, Alpert. He added that the community is concerned with a lot of texting going on about how we can help the people. Neighbors described the area as a tight-knit, family-friendly community where people look out for each other, expressing shock at the morning's events. They also noted that the family living in the home has children and are worried about their well-being. What we don't know, questions remain among residents, including whether the burglar was armed and how they gained entry to the home. You know what? I don't care. I don't care if the burglar was armed. I don't care if the burglar was armed. Okay, Patrick, I'll go back. I'll go back to that Milwaukee story in a minute. I don't care if the burglar was armed. As much as it might excite me, the idea of it, I'm not a shoot first and ask questions later kind of guy when it comes to trespassing. As in, I catch you on my property, right? You know, if I'm sitting back there in my little private park at the back edge of the property, having a nice cup of coffee, and old boy walks into my clearing and, you know, in hunter's orange with a rifle, and realizes suddenly, oh, and I'm like, hey brother, you seem to have strayed off of Todd's lot. Why don't cool, whatever, right? You're not trying to mess with me, right? I get it. You're out in the woods playing around hunting. The two properties are right next to each other, right? I was talking to my neighbor a few months ago, and he was telling me some of his buddies were hunting his land and came back and said, yeah, man, they came back and said they asked me, hey, man, when'd you put the parking benches back there or the park benches back there in the woods? He said, I don't have any park benches in my property. I'm like, oh, yeah. That's the little private park that we put in at the back of my property. That's fine, right? I get it. And I mean, especially in that case, because the park benches are all the way at the back of my property. Like it's down the path. It's a good little piece of a walk. And then you get to the park benches And then the river's right there. And on the other side of that is Todd's place. So, okay, got it. Oh, no biggie. But you're in the house? We're done. You're in the house uninvited? I don't care if you're armed. We're done. In fact, that may be one of the most certain ways to find yourself at the back of the property. I mean, you're in the house. You are not there because you wandered in by mistake. You're not in my house by mistake. You didn't get turned around. You didn't get confused. And if you can make the argument that that's exactly how you ended up in my house, you got turned around, you got confused, you got lost, something, then you don't belong in the world. You belong, at best, in an asylum. I don't happen to have an asylum handy, right? So you're suddenly not my problem. And you're suddenly going to really not be my problem. Stay out of the house. Oh, and that's the end of that article. Okay, I'll give you one more because Patrick is begging me for this one. So let's see what we got. Looks like there's a little video with this one too, which means I have to do a little extra setup. Thanks, Patrick. Shoe buddy. Okay, let me see if I... All right. Yeah, I don't seem to have an asylum handy. Bullet, perhaps? I had somebody once ask me what would be more valuable in the zombie apocalypse, gold or ammunition. I said, well, I'll put it to you like this. We're in a coffee shop. I said, I would like to buy a cup of coffee. And I would like to trade you this single round of .357 Magnum ammunition for that cup of coffee. How fast would you like to catch it?
5 Milwaukee police just released video showing last week's off-duty police shooting death.
The mother of Elijah Wilkes said after watching the video, she believes the officer was justified in this shooting. Now, Jason Galvey is here to show us what she saw.
Yeah, Ben, this is very unusual for MPD to release video this quickly. But some in the community had questions, and the family said they wanted people to see for themselves. This video was captured by the off-duty officer's dash camera. You can see it starts with a fender bender on Mill Road.
This one?
The family says it's Elijah Wilkes who then gets out of the front car. MPD and the union say he hit the off-duty officer in the face with a gun. And MPD then said there was a shootout. We're going to pause the video right here.
The vantage point of that video is clear. It's within a few feet away. So again, the proximity is substantially more reliable. And it depicts the details that are very critical here.
Wilkes' mother and attorney B. Ivory Lamar watched this video Friday and came out right away and said they thought the officer was justified in shooting.
When we saw the video for the first time, completely silent. It was unimaginable, what actually took place. And I think that, we requested to see it a second time. And it's just something that we just have to take acceptance and accountability for.
On Friday, Wilkes' mom and the attorney said they wanted...
Yeah. Funny story, Patrick. This, it just so happens that this one actually happened the day that I released the music video on the BFM, All Your Martyrs Are Monsters, which of course is a song about the oft-repeated trope. Every time we get an innocent black man was murdered by evil white police officers, we find out that it's, George Floyd who, was a serial criminal. He was being arrested for trying to pass off counterfeit money, and was high on speed and fentanyl, with a history of hurting people, including robbing a woman, with her kid in the room at gunpoint. You got the story of Jacob Blake, who they lit Kenosha on fire over, and that's another one where the the story comes out, and they tell, and he didn't die, by the way. Jacob Blake survived, but the police were there because his ex-girlfriend, his baby mama or whatever, had called them because he had just come into her house, and the phrasing they used was digitally raped her, and then had loaded her children up in his car and was in the process of kidnapping them when the police arrived, and he drew a knife and attempted to attack the police. Right? And it's every time, right? The Michael Brown story. Oh, he came, struck an officer, attempted to take the officer's gun, and he was coming fresh off of having just robbed a nearby convenience store. And that's where we got the hands up, don't shoot narrative, right? The Trayvon Martin case, where it became painfully obvious rather quickly that Martin physically assaulted Zimmerman, and Zimmerman was forced to defend himself. I remember in the testimony, Zimmerman talked about how he was wearing a firearm, and in the scuffle, the firearm fell out and it was on the ground. And Zimmerman described, I remember thinking, that's not my gun anymore. It's the gun. And one of us is about to decide whose gun it is. And I decided it had to be mine, which is the correct decision, by the way. It's every single time you get one of those stories, every single time. So I guess I'm going to leave you guys. Today with this action. So here's your safety brief. No warning shots. Don't fire warning shots. Okay? Don't try to shoot one in the ground to let them know it's loaded. Don't shoot one in the air. Hell, absolutely do not shoot one in the air, right? The only time you pull that trigger is when you intend for a round to enter a target. Period. That's it. You pull that trigger when you intend to strike a target with a ballistically assisted projectile on purpose. Because when you pull the trigger, when you fire a gun, you cannot miss. You may not hit what you're aiming at, but you will hit something. You will absolutely, every time, without exception, hit something. So I am going to leave you guys with this gem, since Patrick brought it up by referencing that story. So yeah, the story of Elijah Wilkes, who committed suicide by cop after having a car accident with a cop, and then punching the cop and trying to shoot the cop, got himself shot by a cop. That happened the same day that I released this music video. So you guys be safe out there. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow night for the 9:00 deep dive. And Mario's been working hard on this one, and it's going to be, I'm not going to give it away just yet. It's going to be intense, though. It is going to be intense.
They light the torches and the names, build their altars out of flames, Every sinner's crown of thorns, sold in their culture wars. They preach compassion, sell the rage, turn their prisons into stage. Their saints wear mugshots, their prophets steal. They burn the truth and call it real. The cameras rolling, call that justice again. They sanctify the broken glass, bleeding hands, a riot mass, names carved deep in city streets, halos hung on their deceit. They preach forgiveness, never peace, feed the mob, they never cease. They don't want truth, they want control, trade their souls for the victim role. They want blood, they want fame, addicted to the chaos game. Oh, they're martyrs or monsters, virtue wrapped in vice. They sell their stories, never pay the price. Oh, they're martyrs or monsters, born from fire and lies, and they worship everyone till the last truth dies. They built their temples on broken backs, preach forgiveness while lighting the match. They want a savior, look inside. All their martyrs were monsters before the day they died.
In the beginning, there was only